morning thinking about the song No Plan by David Bowie. No Plan was written in 2014. In early drafts of the Black Star tracklist, the song was titled Wistful in brackets, This Is Not Quite Yet. It was one of the new songs included in Lazarus, the musical, or should I say Play with Music, that was co-written by Enda Walsh and directed by Ivo van Hove, that premiered in late 2015. Because of its technical difficulty, i.e. requiring a series of long, belted high notes in the refrain, the song was used as the audition piece for the role of Girl in the musical. The song was recorded at the Magic Shop, rest in peace, in New York City during the initial January 2015 sessions for Black Star. And from what we can piece together from the chronology, backing tracks and some lead vocals were captured on January 7, with Bowie apparently completing his vocal performance a few days later. And I suppose I'm only noting that and pointing it out because the song was being worked on and completed around his 68th birthday. And although this version was released as part of the original cast recording of Lazarus, which in some weird bit of macabre synchronicity was also being recorded the day Bowie died and came out later that year, 2016. It was the title track of the No Plan EP, which came out on what would have been Bowie's 70th birthday in 2017. And for this reason, I always think of No Plan as like a birthday song or an anniversary song. It's also thought of as a kind of transmission from the great beyond type song because it came after he died and it was released officially posthumously, and the video also leans into that a bit. I wonder if that's the reason why people don't talk about it much, because it's a bit depressing or sad to think about because it seems like he's singing from the other side or something. So I thought it might be nice to take some time to think about the song now as we mark the recent and upcoming 10th anniversaries of both Lazarus and Black Star and the soon approaching 79 years since Bowie's birth and a full decade since his passing. It seems like a significant time to remember him and that time. It really does feel like we've somehow gone down the wrong pantyhose leg of history since then. So beginning with the music, the song is in D major, though it starts in a more mysterious and vague place, beginning with a patient, almost weary climb through an E diminished seventh chord. Diminished chords can be seen as classically coded signifiers of suspense and unresolved tension. I'm thinking of the classic silent movie soundtrack during a tense moment, like a train coming and someone's tied to the tracks, or when the roadrunner is about to do something violent and stupid and you're waiting for the results. So here this diminished seventh chord feels questioning and searching and uncertain, like, where is it leading? Where are we going? And then a resolution comes as it settles through a sequence of warm, enfolding chords. D major 7, G major 7 over D, B flat major 7 over D, returning to D major 7th. And these harmonies are really cozy and relaxed and warm and tethered to that D bass note. I love it when Bowie does this kind of thing in his songwriting, pivoting around on nearby harmonies from a shared note that acts as a tether or a connection. It makes me think of the beautiful chords of Dollar Days. Or the clever moves that he makes in The Buddha of Suburbia. To my mind, this sort of songcraft is economical and effective and demonstrates Bowie's ability to create emotional depth through restrained harmonic means. The architecture of No Plan is binary. There is a verse section that floats in a warm bath of D major 7 colour, and then there's a contrasting section that returns to that E diminished 7th sound with a sense of vague suspense. Between these ideas, the song softly swings like a pendulum between yearning and comfort. The vocal melody is particularly evocative in how it navigates this harmonic terrain. It hovers in the 5th degree, sort of suspended in the middle of the scale, equidistant from the bottom home note and the top home note, almost floating in space and reaching towards tonic resolution and not quite really moving anywhere. I feel like this melodic device mirrors the lyrical themes in a way, being neither here nor there, balancing precariously in the middle. In the B section, the melody reaches higher for answers. The note being sung is the tonic note or the home note of the key the song is in, but the diminished chord underpinning it kind of denies a sense of resolution. Clever little bit of songwriting. I feel like the instrumental palette also reinforces this liminal quality of the song.
Viola, the clarinet, the woodwinds.
Woodwinds bring a breathy, tender, pillowy quality to the music, and Ben Monder's dreamy guitar playing provides a gently hazy atmosphere. It's like words that come to mind are celestial and relaxed and almost consoling in a way. The darker, diminished seventh shades of the B section or the refrain, along with the upward push of the melody, gives the song some real drama. But the melody doesn't reach its resolution. It drops back down to the middle of the scale, almost like it settles back into the warm stasis of D major 7, circulating nearby harmonies. This back and forth, the gentle push and pull of it, I don't know about you, but it deepens my immersion in the song's emotional world. It's leading to a resolution, and that finally arrives in the second refrain, the second B section, which Bowie enters almost impatiently with a line that feels extra to the phrase. And he sings all the things that are my life before the refrain even arrives. And then finally, with the lyrical reveal, this is not quite yet, the song resolves and puts to rest the tension of the diminished sonority that has troubled the whole piece from the very start. And we have to talk about the vocalism on show here, especially in this last moment. Within the Bowie tradition of arching, climactic, music theatrical, quasi-bel canto operatic payoffs, I'm thinking of songs like Fantastic Voyage from Lodger or The Motel from One Outside, and Sue from Black Star. I'm of the opinion that No Plan, simple as it is, easily sits alongside. I mean, if we just cheekily listen to this vocal stem here.
Things that are my life, my moods, my beliefs, my desires, me alone, nothing to regret. This is no place, but here I am. This is not quite yet.
That's just magic, right? Side note, I generally hate AI with all of my soul, but stem separation is pretty cool, I have to admit. I read somewhere in a review that this moment recalled, for someone else, a climax of My Way, famously sung by Frank Sinatra. And for those in the know, also a song with Bowie associations in the lore.
The record shows I took the blows and did it my way. This is not quite yet.
I can hear it too, I suppose, and I think that's kind of cool, because My Way associated with the end of Sinatra's life, and if that was a conscious decision on Bowie's part to evoke it, then tying back to life on Mars and all of that, that's pretty clever. The lyrics articulate a profound meditation on existence stripped of temporal context. Here am I, nowhere now, establishes this cool paradox. There's something about this lyrical hook that feels so full circle and symmetrical. It makes me think about Plan, that instrumental B-side track from The Next Day Extra, and we heard it at the beginning of the music video for The Stars Are Out Tonight. And it feels like such a hopeful musical idea, sketch, and the idea of it being a plan kind of, in my mind, seems to associate with the kind of meticulous planning of this last period of Bowie's works. Here Am I Nowhere Now, that line also makes me think back to Where Are We Now? It's like it's answering that question that surprised us all out of the blue on the morning of January 8th, 2013, when that song just appeared out of nowhere. And at risk of diverging too far, I know, as is my wont, the lyric also makes me think about Secret Machines, because Bowie was a fan of Secret Machines, and their debut album has a name that sort of links to this idea. And that little tangent sent me back to try and find that interview that Bowie did with them when their second album came out, 10 Silver Drops. And I went back and listened to it, and it was just really lovely to hear. It felt like David Jones a little bit. And also it's great because they're not in awe of him, which is nice, and he genuinely loves their music. But what I found interesting is that in that conversation, he brings up the idea of them writing for musical theatre.
Have you ever written for, or do you see yourselves writing for theatre in some way, or for something theatrical? I'm trying to leave that as wide open as possible, to where you yourselves are not involved, but you're writing for something that takes place on stage.
I think we'd love that. I mean, the idea, if we were given, like, write music that describes this situation or could fill the background or, like, create this kind of environment or this kind of music, I think we would. We've never actually been able to have the opportunity to do that, but I think it's something we'd love to do.
Yeah, and writing and removing ourselves from the performance of it is really, really enticing as well, you know.
It's really interesting. In my experience, writing for something or somebody else is such a whole lot easier kind of thing to do.
Yeah.
I think it's because you take the responsibility away somehow. You say, well, hey, I don't care, it's not me doing it.
Yeah.
But that is a great freeing thing. Because it releases all your inhibitions.
Totally.
And you really kind of, what if I did this or what if I did that? And you can write stuff that you probably would never have thought of writing for yourself.
Yeah.
And the worst thing is that a few months later you'll say, damn, I wish I kept that for me.
Yeah.
That's happened to me quite a few times, especially in the earlier days. And I think I've done that these days. I've started initially writing something for another project and thought, oh, that's pretty good. I'm pulling this back. I'll put this in a cupboard.
Yeah.
What can we give them?
Which strikes me as an interesting thing because now we know that in 2005 he'd bought the rights for The Man Who Fell to Earth book, and he was actively working with Robert Fox to find a playwright to work with. And so it was on his mind. And this is in 2006, comes back to No Plan, which was a song that he wrote for his musical, or should I say play with music, that little tangent that we went on back to Secret Machines, it's got a nice little loop to it. Could be nothing, but I like it when that happens. The line, wherever I may go, just there I am, echoes philosophical and spiritual traditions about the inescapability of the self.
Don't be mean. We don't have to be mean. Because, remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
Remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
There was a book by Kabat-Zinn, popularized it for mindfulness. And similar ideas about being fully present have roots in ancient wisdom with parallels found in Buddhist teachings and other spiritual traditions. These ideas resonate for me within the context of Bowie's career and life's work, despite decades of costume changes and aesthetic shifts and geographical wanderings around the planet. There still remains an irreducible essence. Lyric suggests you can't escape who you fundamentally are. And that thought makes me think of that other fab Bowie quote from 1999 Gear magazine interview with Aaron Hicklin, where he says, "You only live in memory, you live in a place that doesn't exist. I think aging is an extraordinary process whereby you become the person that you always should have been." The chorus or the refrain crystallizes this idea when he sings all the things that are my life, my moods, my beliefs, my desires. These aren't possessions or achievements or memories even, but they're states of being, they're qualities that constitute selfhood. At the end of time, in limbo, what remains is not what you owned or what you did, but who you are, how you feel, and what you believe. In Lazarus, the musical, or should I say play with music, the song was performed by a girl who's a character in the play. It is suggested she could be a soul trapped in some kind of limbo. In the first round of workshop productions in New York, it was further suggested that she was a murder victim by way of this cool projected performance by Alan Cumming, and that was later cut from the show. I'm not sure why. A suggestion that opens up a fun little wormhole, at least in my mind, to Baby Grace Blue from One Outside and other potential anima figures that are blonde or mousy-haired who suffer in Bowie's art, but that's probably another video. Let's not digress again. In my book from a few years ago, I put forward my reading that Lazarus is taking place in a bardo, the Tibetan Buddhist term for transitional states between life and death, a deathbed dream, if you will. And this reading was based in what I felt was pretty clearly communicated in the staging and script. The fact that Newton begins and ends the show in the same position, asleep on the ground, and also by things that co-writer Enda Walsh said about the show in the program notes and subsequent interviews. I did find it really interesting that some of the early inspirations included the work of Dennis Potter. The Singing Detective was cited, and Bob Fosse's All That Jazz. Both of these references involve death dreams or hospital bed hallucinations where deep psychological work is being enacted through elaborate song and dance numbers. When watching Bowie's Lazarus, we witness Newton's experiences in the bardo states between life, death and rebirth, the hallucinatory swirl of psychic projections, thoughts and emotions, wounds and old attachments, a stream of pure consciousness and a narrative that unfolds with a dream logic. The bardo states are the not quite yet between life and death, the place where a person exists in the essence of nowness.
I'm going away. I see. But not quite yet.
Please, not quite yet.
Bowie has made specific references to nowness, impermanence, before. Makes me think about One Outside's opening provocation. It's happening now, not tomorrow. That stream of warm impermanence from changes and that vital presence and triumph in Heroes as it converges forever and ever with just one day.
Memory, some say, is fate's shorthand, so it seems. And it seems to me that I do recall at some time in the 70s, the revolutionary and yippie, Abby Hoffman, saying to me over a drink, "Tomorrow isn't promised," reminding me that if we move one grain of sand, the earth is no longer exactly the same. No one going on a business trip would be missed if they never arrived. David Mamet said that. Which brings us to this song of nowness, a new song from the new album. This one's called Seven.
The song Seven is pinned around an idea of existential knowing. When given only 7 days to live, the proximity and certainty of death throws down a challenge for living in its fullest sense. Otherwise, what's the point? Every one of those days not spent living is another way to die. For Dennis Potter in 1994, the profound experience of transience was only revealed to him once his future was taken away by his terminal diagnosis. In his final interview with Melvyn Bragg, filmed 3 months before he died at 59, he took swigs from a flask of liquid morphine and described beautifully how the knowledge of his approaching death had heightened his awareness of glory and comfort in the world.
And we forget, or tend to forget, that life can only be defined in the present tense. It is. And that nowness becomes so vivid to me now that it's almost in a perverse sort of way, I'm almost serene. You know, I can celebrate life. Below my window in Ross, when I'm working in Ross, for example, there now at this season, the blossom is out in full now, there in the west early. There's a plum tree. It looks like apple blossom, but it's white. And looking at it, instead of saying, oh, that's nice blossom, you know, now, the last week, looking at it through the window when I'm writing, it is the whitest, frothiest, blossomest blossom that there ever could be, you know. And I can see it. And things are both more trivial than they ever were and more important than they ever were. And the difference between the trivial and the important doesn't seem to matter. But the nowness of everything is absolutely wondrous. And if people could see that, you know, there's no way of telling you. You have to experience it, you know. But the glory of it, if you like, the comfort of it, the reassurance, if not that I'm interested in reassuring people, you know, bugger that. The fact is that if you see the present tense, boy, do you see it. And boy, can you celebrate it, you know?
In stark contrast to the existential thought experiment of Seven, I feel that No Plan has a similar consolation and comfort that Potter is describing to Bragg in his last interview, a knowing that you always knew, but that you never know until you know. In other words, that moment you know, you know, you know. Dennis Potter had staged his public dying in Karaoke and Cold Lazarus, his final works, by binding up his personal myths and creative legacies with a pair of connected final pieces. And these are pieces that pivot on and draw power from the death of their author. And I think it's striking how Bowie pulled off a similar maneuver in the final months of his life, and how giving us access to his dying through the visceral shared experiences of live theatre, he and Walsh created a space for fans to share in their own grief and healing. An accompanying music video for No Plan, directed and conceived by Tom Hingston and intended as like a gift for the fans, shows a shabby shopfront of Newton Electrical located on Foxgrove Road, Beckenham, where Bowie rented a flat in 1969, the year he released Space Oddity. A wall of TVs in the shop window suddenly flicker on with static and interference, as if controlled by a ghost. The effect is one of a reassuring message being relayed from the afterlife, and while we know this video is not devised by Bowie, its existence speaks to the continuing entanglements of Newton and Major Tom and other Bowie myths in the popular consciousness. In addition to serving as a fine epitaph, No Plan creates fascinating tension with the meticulous strategizing that characterized Bowie's late work. Black Star feels like this carefully orchestrated thing, puzzle pieces deliberately placed. The Next Day is this dense cipher that rewards deep engagement. Bowie's legacy is partly built on a calculated approach to presentation. And here we have this little song, which offers something different, albeit existing in the double context of Bowie's late life and the narrative bardo world of Lazarus. It's very Potteresque, all of that.
And we were there to create something together, because that's what he wanted. He wanted to create. It's a little bit like, it reminded me today suddenly of Dennis Potter, you know, who wrote TV scripts for television until the last moment he could. And it feels a little bit like that he staged his own dying as a piece of art almost, because there is this beautiful album and there is this, well, hopefully beautiful piece that he left behind.
Ivo van Hove, thank you very much indeed for talking with us, and we share your grief. Thank you very much.
While the Black Star album is characterized by darkness and drama and a sense of losing ground to powerful chaotic forces, No Plan's stillness, where the distinction between the trivial and the important no longer matters, feels like a nice change. It's like a meditation on what lies beyond all that careful construction and what remains when artifice falls away. This is fundamentally existential territory, right? Authentic being versus accumulated identity. The diminished chord's questioning stance and the major seventh's warm response creates a dialectic between existential anxiety and consolation, between the terror of meaninglessness and the reassurance of simply being. The neat achievement of No Plan lies in its musical embodiment of this philosophical abstraction. I treasure this song because it... You okay? I treasure this song because it makes me reflect meaningfully and ask, what are the things that are my life? Where am I now? How may I ever comprehend that serene nowness that Dennis Potter refers to? even in part or only slightly catch a glimpse of it, the glory, beauty, the comfort, the reassurance that's possible in the present moment. I feel like this song allows me to feel a tiny bit of that, and for that I'm really thankful.
Are we big enough and mature enough to exist like that? Are we mature enough to accept that there's no plan, there's no going somewhere, there's no gift of immortality at the end of this if we evolve? If we evolve far enough, we may never have to die. I mean, that seems to be the reach from the past. Well, maybe we can't live like that. Maybe we have to exist and live on the idea that we have one day at a time to live. And can we do that? Because if we could do that, we may be serving some great thing.